Hi, y'all. You know what time it is? Woo! Get into it! Get into it! Yes! We are back! We are back! We are back with story time with Chris. Hi! We are back, y'all. I hope everybody's having a good Monday, a good start to the week, which technically that would have been Sunday, but still, people typically count Mondays as the start of their week. Oh, it's just the birds. I just put out some new seed from my avian friends, which the term avian is to describe one with wings, or typically a very scientific way of saying birds. Avian creatures, things with wings, hollow bone structure. Did you know, kids, that in order for birds to fly, their bones are made hollow so that they are able to have a bit more lift when they take to the sky? And they have downing feathers in the back and contour feathers under their wings so they can gather more air so they can glide and soar and go further up. Not every bird can fly super high, but there are a lot of great birds that can. Well, this isn't complete yet, but it's going to be a golden eagle's wing. The golden eagle is one of my favorite birds of all time. Shout out to the rescuers down under, and shout out to this amazing book I used to read in elementary school about a eagle that thought it was a chicken. If anybody knows what I'm talking about, any of my friends from Cleveland, any of my friends from the 90s, if you know what I'm talking about, comment below. There's this, and I'm going to find a copy of this book. My mom has a copy, but I'm going to find one for myself. There was a story written by a black author about an eagle who was founded in this chicken coop with all these other chickens, and it was made to believe that it was a baby chicken when in reality it was an eagle. So all the chickens are laughing at this little baby bald eagle, talking about like, oh, you'll never be able to fly, you're just a chicken, da 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 da. No chicken has been able to fly. And as it grows and time goes on, this little chick becomes a full eaglet, and then it goes to be a full-grown eagle and flies away and soars over those who tried to put them down for years and years and years, which teaches a valuable lesson. Not to allow people to dictate who you are. You are the master commander of your fate. And pardon the noises outside, because apparently they're fighting over this food. I feel like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Now you two, calm down. Which is ironic, because I have my Disney princess mug. It's not all of them, but it's the major ones I like. Bella's number one, of course. Then after that probably would be Cinderella, then Ariel, then Jasmine, then Aurora. Aurora is definitely on the favorites list for different reasons. One, Aurora taught me how to run away and cry gracefully, number one. Number two, she's actually intelligent. Like, what I mean by that is, and we're going to get to the story in a minute, but I'm going to finish this tangent. Princess Aurora in the Disney adaptation is not really a damsel in distress. She's very much a damsel of circumstance, because all of her 60 years of life, she's been raised by these three Kyleo women she's imagined as her aunts, when in reality she's been a princess the entire time, being protected from a curse that was set on her when she was nothing but a baby, and being arranged into a marriage of a boy that she knows nothing about. And then come to find out, the first boy she genuinely meets and has a connection with is the boy that she's supposed to be betrothed to, excuse me. But she definitely knows her situation, is very smart, and even though she talks to her animal friends, she's just like, I want to be different. Like, I want to go away and live my life, and my aunts always try to keep me away from people, but I want to see people. I want to know about the world. And she questions her reality and her situation. And even when she arrives back at the house and she's like, oh, just wait till you meet him. And they're like, him? And she's like, well, I am 16, which back in those days, specifically more so 14th century Europe, 16 was basically you were an adult. So, she's like, I'm 16. I should be able to date and, get to know people and travel and stuff like that. So, Princess Aurora is not superficial. She just is a damsel of circumstance. The more you know. And I do not own the music that is being played in the background. Hold on one second. Let me break up these birds. Hold on. Hey! Cut it out! Be nice. Silly creature. There's plenty of food for everybody. Sorry about that, y'all. Yes, I do have 3 bird feeders outside of my apartment, and I have suet cake cages near my window. So that's when, if you hear a lot of twittering in the background, that's where that's coming from. Alright. Let's continue reading Kiki's Delivery Service. Now, if you've noticed, this, of course, as most cases are, the book is not always going to be as accurate to the film adaptation. Hence why it's called an adaptation. You're adapting someone's work, meaning you are taking the source material and creating it for another format. So, adapting a piece of work would be, if I had a book, which eventually I will get my book published, when I have my book published, if somebody wanted to adapt my work, they could do it in a comic book form, or manga, or a TV series, or a movie franchise. It's all different. Y'all hear them? There's my eyeglass wiper. Oh. Seeds. Hold on. Oh, there it is. My apologies. Well, at least we give people time to settle in before we start. I'm sorry. Kiki pries into someone's secrets. Kiki hurried down from the second floor and opened the shop door to see a girl standing alone in the doorway. Dark brown curls gently framed her face, and she wore a pretty pale pink sweater. Gleaming white boots went all the way up to the knees of her slender legs. The girl almost seemed to be floating. Kiki was so awestruck by her. Welcome! Kiki was excited, could hardly speak. This was the first time she had a customer around the same age as her. When the girl saw Kiki, she inhaled sharply, lowered her eyes, and stumbled over her words.
Do you need something delivered?
Kiki said, having composed herself a bit.
I heard that there's a shop can deliver anything. Are you the delivery woman?
The girl's tense face smiled as she cocked her head.
Yes, and I do a thorough job. No need to worry.
I see. The girl nodded, her dark eyes flashing, and she seemed to be purposely slowly batting her eyelashes.
I want you to deliver something for me, but it's a secret.
A secret? Kiki asked, furrowing her brow.
Oh, it's nothing bad.
The girl lifted her chin and looked down at Kiki. As she leaned on the doorframe with one hand, a silver brooch sparkled at the collar of her sweater.
I want you to deliver a present to a boy named Ai. It's his birthday today. He's turning 14. Cool, right?
The girl spoke so proudly, one would think she had come up with the idea of his birthday herself. What's so cool? Kiki thought, confused. The girl continued.
But I don't want him to know the present is from me. Why not? Why not? Well, I have known each other since we were little. He still only thinks of me as a kid, even though I'm 13 now.
But you want to keep this a secret? I don't get it. The girl looked up at Kiki and cracked a smile.
You don't understand how I feel?
Kiki was even more confused.
Wait, this present isn't something weird, is it? Will a frog jump out when he opens it? I don't accept those kinds of prank jobs.
The girl laughed again, this time a little smugly.
I heard you're a witch, but you don't know anything, do you? Is that what you do if you had a crush on someone?
Excuse me? Kiki said, glaring at the girl. The girl pushed her hair back with a bored look on her face and reached into her pocket.
I used all my allowance to buy matching fountain pens for I and me. Look,
she said. showing off a silver pen in her hand, and at the same time she flipped the collar of her sweater to reveal an identical one stuck through it from the inside. What Kiki had thought was a silver brooch was the clip of a similar pen.
Carrying magic items like this is the latest trend.
The girl, haughtier now, squared her shoulders. Kiki knew this girl was a customer, and she knew she would have said, "I see," and delivered the pen. But when she opened her mouth, something else entirely came out.
What do you mean you'll match? This eye guy won't even know you're the one who sent it.
Right, the girl replied.
He won't, but I will.
Kiki couldn't believe the girl managed to brush off such a rude comment like it was nothing. Not only that, the girl was hardly paying attention, looking off into the distance somewhere, spellbound.
It's a great present, said Kiki, pursuing the topic further. But why not give it to him yourself? That's not so hard. I'm too shy for that.
The girl slowly batted her eyelashes again. It was as if she thought being shy was a good thing. Which it is if you genuinely are shy. Just saying. Intimidated, Kiki suddenly felt her chest grow tight. She couldn't pinpoint it, but somehow this girl felt much more grown up than her.
Shy? That's weird, Kiki said. Oh, you don't understand how that feels yet.
The girl smiled faintly as if pitying Kiki. But Kiki wasn't about to let this girl get the better of her, so she shot back.
You must be nervous about what I will think, right? What if he finds this strange? Oh, I'm not worried about that. I just want to keep it a secret. It's good to be a little mysterious.
Kiki took another good look at the girl. She was surprised someone could have so many complicated feelings hidden beneath a simple pink sweater.
Mysterious? Is that how I'm supposed to act? Maybe there's something wrong with me.
Suddenly she remembered Tombo's comment again. I've never met a girl in this town quite like you. The girl in front of her continued talking.
Besides, once I knows one half of something, he'll just have to find out the other. So I'm going to send him on a hunt.
To find you? The sender of the present?
Exactly. But what if he doesn't go looking for you? That won't happen. He'll definitely look.
She seemed quite confident on that point.
Alright, I just have to deliver the pin.
Kiki had the feeling of this conversation might go on forever. She wanted to end it.
Please, and this along with it.
The girl fished around in her pocket and took out a small yellow envelope.
A letter? It's actually a poem. I wrote it. Don't you know you're supposed to send a poem with a present to your crush?
Kiki felt as though the conversation was sliding backwards, so she hurriedly asked,
What's I's address? He lives on Dogwood Road across the big river. He's 318 west of the zoo, but in the afternoon he's usually practicing tennis on his own in the park. And what about you? My name's a secret. I live on the next street over from Dogwood on Kea. If you're that close, you could just go, but I know, I get it.
Kiki held her hands up in front of her.
If you see me, pretend you don't know me, and, all right, I need to pay you.
After hesitating a moment, Kiki said, If you don't mind, I'd like to hear how things turn out. Tell me later. A slightly spiteful part of Kiki couldn't help but wonder whether I would bother to search for the girl at all.
You mean whether I tries to find me? So nosy. But sure, I'll tell you, the girl said, still self-assured. Then I don't need anything else in return. Really? You sure? I mean, Kiki started to reply. Oh, you want to learn how to talk to boys. I get it, I get it.
The girl nodded as though she was older and more experienced. Instead of replying, Kiki wrinkled her nose and tried her best to suppress a scream, which I was definitely in Kiki's position. I did not know how to talk or flirt to boys, so there's that. I always asked my older female friends advice, and they always gave really balanced sound advice for the most part. Not gonna lie. Instead of replying, Kiki wrinkled her nose and tried her best to suppress a scream. Once the girl left, Kiki turned to look at herself in the mirror. She combed her hair, adjusted the collar of her dress, and twisted and turned to look at herself from every angle. Then she sat on her bed and muttered,
What do I do if I thinks I'm the girl?
Gigi flopped over next to her with exhaustion. This is all so silly. I can't go along with this, he said and yawned.
So you're not coming?
Yet when Kiki put the pen and the letter in her pocket and patted it to be sure, Gigi rose sluggishly. Outside the shop, the two of them took off. Lately, the wind had grown colder, and today it whipped at their cheeks. From up in the sky, they could see the fall was in full swing. The town had lots of ginkgo trees, and their leaves had all turned yellow, which there are ginkgo trees in Cleveland. Every now and then, a stray leaf would flutter into Kiki's path and stick to her chest. You're really taking your time today, huh? Gigi called from behind her. You're going in circles!
Oh, am I?
Kiki returned to herself with a start and looked below. In truth, she had been thinking about one thing the whole time. The girl's poem inside the envelope that was inside her pocket. When Kiki was little, she had written one poem herself. Shoes laugh, tap, tap, tap. Hats laugh, tap, tip, tap, tip. I laugh, tee hee hee. That was the only time she had ever encountered poetry. But Kiki knew that whatever was written inside the envelope couldn't be nearly as childish. What sort of thing do you write in a poem to a boy? That girl seems to know so much. She must have written something lovely. Kiki's heart raced as she imagined all sorts of things. The more she told herself she couldn't look, the more the thought of the envelope occupied her mind.
Gigi, I want to rest for a minute. I'm going to land on the bank.
We just took off!
But it's fall,
Kiki answered, knowing that was hardly a reason. Still, she began her descent, soaring in a big arc like a bird. Eventually, she touched down in a park that ran along the river. There was no one around, and the swings swayed on their own in the wind. Beyond them, the river flowed by with occasional whitecaps.
Gigi, if you want to go play somewhere for a little while, you can.
Kiki leaned her broom against a ginkgo tree, shedding its yellow leaves, then sat by the leaf-carpeted roots. It's okay, I'll stay here. I'm cold. Fall can be over with already.
Oh, Gigi, Kiki smiled tightly. Why don't you go take a walk? Look at all the green foxtails growing along the bank. I know you like those, she insisted.
Are you saying I'm bothering you? Gigi narrowed his eyes. You say I'm bothering you?
Yes, that's what I'm saying,
she said jokingly, pushing her hair into place after the wind ride. You're hiding something, aren't you?
Fine, you're right, Kiki shrugged, but it's not as if I'm going to break it or lose it, or get it all dirty. It's just for a second, just a peek.
What are you even talking about? Gigi frowned and stared her down.
Gigi, don't get mad. I have to see what she wrote in her poem. I know it's wrong, but I need to look. Besides, I think this counts as part of my coming-of-age studies as a witch.
Kiki watched, waiting for his reaction. I don't see why you need all the complicated explanations. Just read it. It's that pretentious pink sweater girls, right? This is all very educational for me, too, so read it aloud.
Oh, Gigi.
Kiki could hardly believe Gigi accepted her excuses so readily as she pulled the note out of her pocket. The picture of a bouquet of flowers on the front of the yellow envelope seemed to swell off the page.
I hope it's easy to open.
As she lifted the edge of the envelope, the glue came unstuck with a dry pop. Inside, a piece of paper with the same flower pattern was folded in half. The poem was written in cute, curly letters. Kiki sat the letter in her lap and quietly began to read. Happy birthday, I wish I could say, but for some reason I shy away. Happy birthday, I want to look into your eyes as I tell you, but for some reason I shy away. I want to give you a present from my hands to yours, but for some reason I shy away. My heart celebrates you, but still I shy away.
She's really
shying away a lot, huh? Like a scaredy cat, Gigi said upon rereading the letter in Kiki's lap.
I wonder if she really wrote it. It hardly seems like her. She was so confident.
Kiki cocked her head.
Well, time to seal it back up and deliver it.
All it took was an instant. Kiki held the envelope with one hand, but just as she reached for the letter with her other, a gust of wind blew across her lap, and the piece of paper slipped through her fingers and into the air. Kiki raced after it, but every time she tried to catch the letter, it fluttered among the falling ginkgo leaves and whooshed on, teasing her. Your broom! Your broom! Hurry and get on your broom! Gigi shouted in panic. Kiki doubled back for it, but tripped on a root and went sprawling. Oh, no! Gigi screamed. When Kiki stood up, she caught sight of the yellow paper washing away on the river. No! Her voice carried after her, but her legs weren't fast enough. By the time she reached the riverbank, the rushing water had taken the paper out of sight.
What'll I do?
Kiki stood there dumbfounded. This time it's not my fault, Gigi said from behind her.
I guess this is punishment for peeking at someone's letter.
Kiki's shoulders slumped.
All I can do is apologize.
You could deliver the poem out loud instead. Gigi did his best to console her.
No, I understand how important this letter was to her. I wouldn't want someone else saying it to the person.
Then what if you wrote it on one of those leaves? I pretty much remember what it said.
That's true, and it's anonymous, so...
It'll be fine, Gigi said with a certainty.
The first part was happy birthday. You're gonna help me out, right, Gigi?
Kiki looked around, picked up a big ginkgo leaf, and sat back down under the tree. She took the pen out of her pocket, removed the cap, and began to write. After the happy part, it was, I
want to say to you.
Yeah, and then it was, but recently I shy away.
My goodness, it's not recently, it's for some reason. And then I want to stare into your eyes and then shy away again.
She's not very good at this, is she? Kiki interjected. Gigi interjected, excuse me. She says the same thing over and over.
Really? I thought it was pretty good when we read it before. Anyway, the next thing was about the present.
The pen, right? Kiki looked at the pen in her hand.
This really is easy to write with, so something like magic presents, silver pens, and...
Thinking, Gigi looked up at the sky and said to Kiki, didn't say silver in there.
But I already wrote it. It is silver, so it's fine. Next is, from my hands to yours. I like that part, so I remember it pretty well. Then shying away again. Or does she shy away again that many times?
No, I remember it was. For some reason, it feels like hide and seek.
Oh, you're right, Gigi. I remember the end clearly. It was, my heart celebrates you, but I will play hide and seek. Phew, I'm glad we figured it out.
Kiki sighed. Let me see, said Gigi, picking at the leaf. Nicely done. They read over the recovered poem. Happy birthday, I want to say, but for some reason I shy away. Happy birthday, I want to stare into your eyes, but for some reason I shy away. Matching presents, silver pens from my hands to yours, but for some reason it feels like hide and seek. My heart celebrates you, but I still play hide and seek. Kiki and Gigi took off. They crossed the big river and dodged around the tall buildings, and when they saw the crowd at the zoo, they began a slow descent. She fixed her eyes on the park that sat partway down Dogwood Road. On the withered grass, a lone boy was hitting a tennis ball against a wall.
That's him!
Kiki quickly angled the handle of her broom down.
You're I, right?
I is an AI, so I is a Japanese name. Ai, which I is also the Japanese word for love. Ai, so A and I, together. Kiki asked, approaching him after landing in the corner of the park.
Happy birthday!
Huh? To me? Do I know you? His dark eyes watched her curiously.
You're 14 now, right? The girl who sent me is the secret admirer. I'm just the messenger.
She teased with a smile. A girl? Who?
Wouldn't you like to know? She lives in this town, and here's a present from her.
Kiki took the pen and envelope out of her pocket. Cool, it's so shiny. Looks like a rocket. The boy lifted the pen up to eye level and turned it around a few times before hanging it over the edge of his collar and patting it.
Wow, you really do match now.
Kiki reacted with a shout, pointing to the boy's collar. Is the name in the letter? The boy started to open the envelope with a sickening feeling. Kiki remembered the leaf inside.
Who knows? Well, I'm going now.
She spouted before turning and hurriedly walking off. Hey! The boy's voice called after her. Who is it? Tell me! Kiki shook her head without turning around.
I promised I wouldn't!
She shouted back.
So I guess she was right. He does want to know.
In her head, Kiki could almost picture the girl's happy face. 3 days later, the secret admirer came rushing into Kiki's shop with like a leaf on a gust of wind. Remembering she had lost the letter, Kiki hung her head instinctively, but the girl asking in a sing-song voice,
Miss Witch.
She sweetly twisted one of her feet back and forth. Her white boots gleamed.
I found me. He asked if the present was for me. Oh, good, Kiki answered cheerfully. But something was weird. He also told me I really put some thought into that leaf and said it was a good idea. Isn't that odd? Did the leaf somehow get in there when you were flying? I guess it doesn't matter. He knew it was for me because the pen, now the leaf. You know, because I have the same one.
The girl pointed to her collar and grinned. Seeing how happy she was, all of Kiki's tensions melted away as if it had never existed. Feeling lighter, she braced herself and said, To tell the truth, and at the same time the girl said,
I have a confession to make. Huh?
They looked at each other.
You go first, Miss Witch.
The girl said, I did something horrible. Kiki looked out and told the girl how she read the letter, how it blew away, and how she wrote the poem on a leaf and delivered it to I.
Wow,
the girl said, a bit disappointed.
I'm sorry, but I think I remember the poem right. When you came into the shop, you seemed to know everything. I really wanted to know what kind of poem you could write, so I couldn't help myself. I hope you can forgive me. What? You thought about me? I felt the same about you, the girl said. I didn't really think I would come looking for me. If I told him my name, I thought he wouldn't even care. But when I came here, you were so confident and seemed so much smarter than me, even though we're the same age. So I was determined to prove myself. I'm sorry. I think we have more in common than I first thought, Miss Witch. I bet we would get along.
The girl smiled, batting her eyelashes as before. Kiki smiled back at her and said in a mock seriousness,
I may be a witch, but you can call me Kiki.
The girl giggled and dropped her voice to mimic Kiki and said,
I'm a normal girl, and I suppose my name is no longer a secret. You can call me Mimi.
And that is where we will stop today. Hope everybody has a fabulous rest of their Monday. I'm going to the gym later on this evening, so love you all. I'll see you next time. Be good to each other.